Thanks everyone for sharing it out. I really appreciate it. Moelma, 1, 2, and 3. Moelma, the original. Anna Mae's here. Who else is here? 8 main people in the house. John Zay, you are here. Ryder Adventure stopped in to say hello. Hey, Charlie, Mixie, Jay stopped by to say hi. We're live. Yeah, coming to you from the basement studio, located in the heart of Bye Bye City Leyte, mere steps from the Dunkin' Donuts. How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing? Okay, so I know I still don't have my audio problem solved. For some reason, this computer refuses to acknowledge my combination headset and microphone. So I don't know what the deal is. So I probably need to get some kind of a new directional mic, which I can't find. I can't find anywhere in town. So it's probably going to have to be, we're just going to have to go with what we know, and that is using the laptop mic. I hope you can hear me anyway. Crystals is here. Larry Lee, thanks for being here. And so at least we got the camera problem solved, which was no easy feat in of itself, because that has a built-in microphone. So you probably hear the fan going on in the background. You probably hear the pigs squealing. You hear the fan going. You probably hear the ducks quacking, the dogs barking, and the crows crowing. Do we have crows here? The frogs are going crazy because of the rainy weather. So you probably hear them. And then, of course, the birds chirping. The birds come out. The roosters are going crazy. Everybody's going crazy here in Bye Bye City Leyte. Hey, so we're here to talk about being scammed. But before we get into that, there's always something that comes up right before the live, because I'm glued to YouTube just to see if I missed anything, just to see what the talking heads are saying. And then I come up here and I present the information to you live on Dan and Minnie's Journey. Are we having a contest today? I don't know if we're having a drawing today. I'm feeling kind of itchy. Every time I get money burning a hole in my Gcash account, I have to spend it. So I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, let's talk about money. Let's talk about money for a moment. So what's going on? When I woke up this morning, it was to panic. The US dollar is collapsing. And so usually when I start seeing information like that being spewed, garbage being taken out, I go in and I try and investigate. First thing I look at the exchange rate of the peso, the dollar to the peso exchange rate, because that'll give me an idea if we should be panicking. If there's inflation, if the money supply is up, if the money supply is down. You'll always find out by checking the dollar to peso rate. So the first thing I do is I fire up the computer. I go to Google and I see what the current rate is. Woke up this morning at 54.35, which means, hey, Nicole is here, which means that we have a weakening dollar and an improving peso. How could that possibly happen? Well, one obvious way it happens is through inflation. When the price of goods and services go up, then things start to level out a little bit. So generally, it starts in the United States since we're the number one consumer of goods and services. But the the United States is entering into an economic downturn. I'm not saying it's a spiral. They're not spiraling out of control, but it's impacting the global economy. Mike married to a Filipina, a Filipina. I said it, dang it. Mike married to a beautiful woman is here. So what that means, alien cruise officials here. Thanks for coming, you guys. So basically, what that means is actually, some people are presenting it as though the U.S. economy is spiraling out of control. It's a it's in a downward death spiral. But I could tell you why that may be happening. Really, it involves demographics. We don't need any garbage anymore. We don't need to be out there buying big screen television sets. We're not out there buying refrigerators for the new house that we're purchasing. We're not even purchasing new homes. We are at a complete and total economic downturn. We've stopped buying. We got all the useless crap that we need. So that means the ports of call, they're stacking up containers full of useless items. Stuff like plastic bottles from China, stuff like that. Mm. One of those frogs jumped in my throat. You'll have to give me a moment to clear my throat. Ribbit, ribbit. You're saying, so why should we care, Dan? Well, you should care because it's going to affect the global economy, which means it's going to have an effect, a direct effect on the Philippines, meaning that if there's inflation, if there's inflation happening in the United States, inflation is going to take place globally, and that means that you got to hunker down or you got to come up with a plan for mitigating that inflation. And so, but it's going to affect the United States more than it will anybody else because people won't be going to work because they're getting laid off from their jobs. They won't be commuting because, and so they won't need to go um, fill up the tanks of their expensive cars with gasoline. Naomi's here. How you doing? Uh, they won't be buying a whole bunch of stuff. They'll be hunkering down in their very, very expensive McMansions. They'll be spending a lot of time in the backyard swimming pool. So if you've been paying attention, package delivery is one good way to measure what's going on in the economy, even the global economy. And you'll see that UPS, United Parcel Service. You'll look at the U.S. Post Office. You'll look at Fed Express, FedEx, DHL to see if they're cutting back on package delivery, because that would mean that people aren't going online and buying stuff to have delivered to your home. And sure enough, it's starting to collapse. You would look at how successful Amazon was on Prime Day, and you'd also look at Lazada and the others, Shopee, to see how their big sales, their big July 15th sales went, to see if they made any money. There's nothing we can do, says Mike Married, but there is nothing we can do. This is the normal way it goes around. All right. Mike married to a beautiful woman. Hi. Yeah. So anyway, what you do is you grow your own food if your country allows it. Just so happens the United States regulates the growing of your own food in your backyard. They regulate everything. No, do not be caught with illegal oranges. You'll end up spending 20 years at Leavenworth, hard labor. So anyway, that's why the pay. So that's why. So it'll be comfortable. I mean, the interesting thing about the Philippines I've noticed is prices always go up, but they seldom come down. But that isn't necessarily true when it comes to pig, because right now I wish Dave Aldon, the pig farmer, were here because he could clue us in on what's happening to the commodities, the price of pork products. Because I've seen lechon baboy, which I love, I've seen the price starting to come down per kilo. And also where they were cooking up the great big pigs, and they were selling it out within minutes. Over here in the parking lot of the Dunkin' Donuts, they have two lechon stands, and they've been over there making tons of money, in hard times. The foreigners have been going over there, the canoes, and they've been buying up the pig, the baboy lechon. They've been paying ridiculous prices for it. And then all of a sudden, everybody stopped buying. Not everybody, but a lot of people stopped buying. And it's affected the price. Of course, it's supply and demand. And when demand starts to wane a little bit, starts to decline, well, then, the entrepreneurs, they go, hey, I better lower my price. But they're helped by the cost of the pig, because that means that people stop buying, and then the farmers are stuck with the pigs, and they got to still get them to market some kind of way. And so that means they lower their price, and that's the way it goes. So I mean, pig prices have been going they've been kind of like a roller coaster. Maybe they've been stable in the last year or so, but now you're starting to see a crack, if you will, in the pig. Yeah, starting to decline a little bit. So anyway, Sec Bucci's here. Thanks everybody for being here. We have 15 million people in the house. I don't know. I'm getting itchy. I don't know when I'm going to call for Mammy to pull the numbers. She's out working with Loyle right now, the expert maintenance guy, because we need some work done on the house. I'm still trying to figure out how to vent the eaves and the roof, so we're not quite done with that job. But we're going to have to do something because the cost of energy, it's too expensive here. And there's a cost that I have to mitigate. And so we're working on a plan to continue to vent this place, using the laws of thermodynamics, which is heat rises or hot air rises and cold air sinks. That's why when you have a fire in your house and you're caught up in your bedroom doing God knows only what, they tell you that when you make good your escape, you have to crawl down onto the floor so that you don't get knocked out by the fumes, because they're going to be rising. The hot air is going to be rising, and that's going to buy you a few moments to make your way out of your abode. And so you crawl on the ground. If you don't know that, you crawl on the ground because that's where the fresh air is going to be, and that's where the air is going to be the coolest. Tobias is here. Tobias Michaels, a fun guy. Princess Sarah's in the house. Hi, Princess Sarah. Cost of pig food has been rising, so to get pigs big, so it pays more for food and care and less per kilo. Oh, I gotcha. Well, it makes sense. Okay, so we're in this inflationary period, and so I want to comment that this might not be a very comfortable place for a lot of expats to be in. Tim Deziak is in the house. Smiling Tim is here. So because a lot of expats, as Steve on the Philippine Information Channel has been talking about, the last few videos, he's talking about, hey, People have been coming over here on a shoestring budget, which ain't a good idea. But you see, the whole thing I think that Steve is missing, is that, and he does a great job presenting information. He's a great communicator, way better than I will ever be, because he kind of he does things very methodical. A, B, C, D, which leads you to F. Oh, I passed over E. And basically, if your life is miserable in the United States on a shoestring budget, it probably will be miserable for you in the Philippines on a shoestring budget. So I don't see the difference on whether you're in the Philippines surrounded by very nice, smiling people versus being in the United States where where you don't know your neighbors and they're very grumpy people at times. So I don't see so I'm not the one, I'm not the advocate of that. Shoestring budget in the States equals shoestring budget in the Philippines. Hey, I'd rather be in the Philippines. I'm not going to be the one to tell you not to come. And so I don't get it's not just Steve, but a lot of YouTubers are talking about this. They're spreading this message. Don't come to the Philippines on a shoestring budget. Make sure you have a healthy bank account. Make sure you have an exit strategy. I'm not a firm believer in all that stuff. You think I would be, right? You think that I would be. Oh, Dan, Dan says, do what you want. Yes, do what you want. And then when you get here, spend all your money. Spend it all in one day. Put the smile on the faces. Put a great big smile on the faces of your Filipino neighbors. So, I don't know. I'm really at lost at what these people are saying. Be homeless but happy? Is that what some of the YouTubers are saying? Be homeless in the States but be happy. How? At least you'll have access to health care. Don't come to the Philippines if you're sick. you know? I would pay 2K a month, Mike says. That's a nice, healthy budget. So, yeah, so you'll be homeless, but at least you'll have free health care. That's what people are saying. And I'm saying, screw that. Die happy. Live hard, play hard, die young, but die with a smile on your face. That's where Dan's coming from. I don't see I just don't see, unless people are trying to keep you out of the Philippines because they want all the Filipinas for themselves. They want all the beautiful women for themselves. And so if you come over there, then you're taking one Filipina out of play. So I don't know. Mike is married to a beautiful woman. And Tim says, I live comfortably here on a very conservative budget. Yeah. And so who's spewing all this garbage, that I think they're lying. I think that you can't live comfortably in the Philippines on $800 per month, right? But uh, how about you just come to the Philippines and try it out? See how it works. The experience is worth $1 million at least. So why not come over here and just give it a shot? I agree that you need a plan to leave if you don't like the Philippines. Oh yeah, it's called getting on a plane and getting the heck out of here. Yeah, that's my plan. There, it took me all of 2 seconds to figure it out. You see, Larry, that's what I'm talking about. In other words, it's a no-brainer, it's a no-brainer. Of course, if you don't like someplace, leave. But that's why people suggest that you come over here as many times as you possibly can, and so you know what the culture is all about before you ever make the move, if you can afford to do it. But if you can't, I can't see what the difference is in dying in the United States on the sidewalk or dying in the Philippines in a nipa hut. Are you guys following me? I'm not trying to get you to agree with me. Of course, Dan, that's a ridiculous plan. Yes. It's no better or no worse than anybody else's. That's the point I'm trying to make. Yeah. It's no better or worse than somebody else's plan. Well, let me give you an example, right? So you can go in any major city, especially San Francisco and Sacramento, and you could see tent cities everywhere, tent cities along the freeways, tent cities under bridges. Tent city is a tent city. So bring your tent, to the Philippines, and you make a deal with one of the property owners here to set your tent up on their land. Just make sure you're on high ground, and you cook just like everybody else does outdoors. You cook your food outdoors. You can do what you can do, basically whatever you want. Whatever you're doing in the United States living in a tent, you can do in the Philippines living in a tent. Oh, the typhoon thing. You had to bring that up. You had to bring up the typhoon thing. Nike in China is using political prisoners to work in their factories. That's how you make money, Mike. That's how you make profit. So anyway, yeah, I see the good side of this, and it gives them money to spend in the commissary. And of course, Nike gets to make a ton of hella money, and they get rich. They get richer. So the people in the factories, in the Nike factories that are prisoners, probably aren't complaining too much. They got something to do. They're making enough money to buy toilet paper, soap, and a few snacks to keep them happy while they're in prison. Some most likely for the rest of their lives. So so I'm not against it. I guess that's what I'm saying. Famous branded shoes are made all over China. Yeah, they most certainly are. I'm wearing a pair right now. They might say made in the USA, but everybody knows they're not. Jay Lynn is here. Yeah. Jay Lynn is, yeah, but well, the beautiful thing is that you can stop. You can buy whatever you want, and you could protest by not spending your money with the companies that you dislike. And if more people paid attention to that, then the world would definitely be a better place to live. And I think, because the way things used to work is basically you would that's the way things used to work. Oh, I like old Fred down the street. And Tom's nice enough, but he said a few things behind my back the other day. So I think I will just do business with Fred from now on. That's the way you do it. I don't like the way Nike uses prisoners to build their shoes, so I won't buy Nikes anymore. That's your prerogative. That's how you turn the tide to convince Nike not to use prisoners to build shoes. That's how you do it. So Jay Lynn's here, Larry, Dan, they are actually saying that they cannot live on that amount. Yeah. So yeah, and I think that that's a dangerous thing, because you do have some YouTubers that are living in bubbles. I mean, even a couple of the famous ones, really famous ones from Dumageddon, right? When they first arrived there, see, they were their own worst enemy, and I'll tell you how. I'll tell you how. And this goes against what other people have been saying, that foreigners cannot, they don't impact the economy of the Philippines to the degree to which they think. And I'm saying, oh yes, they do. Oh yes, they do. Try and get an apartment in Dumageddon for less than $300 or $350 per month. Go try and do it. But when some of the famous dudes first arrived there in the middle of the great global calamity, they were finding apartments there for $100 a month, for $150 per month, and those opportunities you now can still find, but you have to go further and further away from the city. And so they did affect the economy, because the landlord they're not stupid. After all, they did build income housing. And so they're not going to, it's supply and demand. And so if their apartments are in demand, the price goes up. It's just like the pig. If they're not in demand, the price goes down. It's very simple. Did the foreigners affect the economy in Dumageddon? Of course they did. It's ridiculous to say that they did not. Tim says everybody has a different lifestyle, so budgets are only a guide. And that's the way you say it, right, Tim Desiak? You say, as a guide, or you say, here's my budget, right? So right away, I'm reminded that I have to say that anything that Dan says or does on this channel is for entertainment purposes only. Do not put anything I put in play or say into play. Do not do anything that Dan suggests. Run like hell when you see Dan coming. Turn around, walk the opposite direction. There. If you are under 18 years of age, please ask your parents if it's okay to be in this chat. There. Did I cover everything, Tobias? Reebok shoes are on sale now. Yeah, I bet they are. Yeah. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. Tim, well said. Uh, so, there'll be a little bit of a buffer in the Philippines. And the reason why is because the U.S. is pouring millions of dollars into the local economies on the basis they're employing a lot of Filipinos. And basically, that means that there's going to be a tiny bit of a lag time or buffer zone until that money runs out. Mike says, I can live on less since I own the house in the village. Yeah, and that's really, that's the secret. And that's why I use the tent idea as an example, because you would be minimizing your costs, because a Filipino would be more than willing. You know how it works here, Mike. If you went to your neighbor and especially a neighbor who's living on hard times, and you said to them, I've got 3,000 pesos a month that in my pocket that I would like for you to have. If you give me permission to pitch my tent in your backyard, they will let you do it. Or you say something like, I got a Baikubo, is that how you say it? On order down the street here, and I've got no place to put it. Will you let me put my Baikubo on your land? And I will pay you this much money every month. There's always going to be a way for you to live within the budget that you have. You have to be a little bit creative. That's all I'm saying here. If you tell me you can't do it, come here and prove it to me. There, you thought I was going to say something else. If you say that it can't be done, then come here and show me. Show me it can't be done. Try it. Try it. Actually, owning the house is the key, because as you know what, Minnie and I, our budget, we've already gone over this, and you kind of go, how can you guys live in two places with that on that very little money, right? That $1,600 per month, going out, having drinks all the time, doing this, doing that, because that's what it costs. That's what it costs, because we're not paying for anything, we're paying for the apartment, and which people have been critical of me, saying, oh man, that's very expensive. You did go, that's very, very expensive, and I'm going, I've looked everywhere. And the places that are cheaper than where we're living, they're places you wouldn't necessarily want to live in. There, I think I said that. Okay. So Mike is saying the problem with tent season USA, it's under bridges, is flooding. Yeah, and Sacramento gets a lot of flooding, and so do they in places in the Philippines. So you would have to pitch a tent. You're going to pitch, military surplus tent, 3-bedroom, 2-bath tent. If you're going to pitch that on somebody's land, I think I would do a Baikubo. Of course, a tent is extreme, and I like to live in the lap of luxury. I probably would buy a Baikubo, and I would put that on someone. I would rent a piece of land out in the farm somewhere. I would put it there and live happily ever after. What about your health? Well, I wasn't going to the doctor anyway when I was in the States for checkups. Why would I start now? Are you getting me? You know, I mean, think about it. Do you think that Leonard Lund thought that he was going to drop dead the very next day? No, no. Was he getting adequate medical attention? Probably, probably, you know? And so you can't predict what's going to happen tomorrow. That's my point. Tobias says in the States they have a power stabilized to control the bull. Oh, yeah, yeah. Um, well, we don't need to stabilize voltage here. Precious Heart is here. Moama, Mengay, thanks for hanging in there with me. There are the religious prisoners, Muslims not right for human rights. Let's see. Crystal saying budgeting will stress you out. Haha. Spend when you have plenty. That's right. You spend when you have plenty because it keeps the economy going. And so let's say your neighbor's growing, like we're growing eggplant and we're growing all this different stuff, right? I have to do a video on it. I know I've been lazy. I already have the video in the can. I'm just lazy. So, but we're out here. We're growing all these vegetables. See, I practice what I preach. I practice what I preach, folks. I'm just not talking smack here. I'm just not here trying to convince you to do it. I'm actually terrified, and so I'm doing it. I'm terrified. Can you tell? If I weren't so afraid, then I wouldn't be talking about it every single day. James Robinson, Dan, have you and your wife visited other nearby island countries similar to the Philippines? Thailand. We've been to the north of Thailand. We've been a tiny bit south of Bangkok, and we're getting ready to go to Kuala Lumpur. Is probably going to be our next adventure. And so I will never go to Singapore, by the way. Singapore is too expensive for me. Even if I could afford it, which I can, I won't go there. Chrissy Mama, to buy a 1,600 USD is enough for the Philippines. It's enough for us to support two households, the one here and the one in Cebu. So someone has to come here and they have to show me what they're talking about when they say it's not enough money to live on in the Philippines. Someone has to come here and show me because I'm doing it. You can come here and hang around with me for a couple of weeks and then tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I'm doing wrong, because I'm not spending enough money here. You've heard me say that. It's really weird, It's really strange. But it doesn't make me want to go out and spend a whole bunch more money, and I'll tell you why. It's because I'm terrified. I'm terrified that something bad is going to happen to the global economy. And I don't know if it makes a difference or not. Why would I reserve spending money now if the end of the world was coming tomorrow? Doesn't make any sense, right? I'd be spending all my money out there, right, having a good time. And so I'm not doing that. So it's not making any sense, right? It's not making any sense for me. But it definitely doesn't make sense when the YouTubers are going out there using scare tactics, say, "Don't come to the Philippines unless you have $1 million of hospital insurance," $10,000 in your bank account, blah 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 blah. Oh, so let's talk about the rest of it. Yeah. It's reminding me, Larry Lee. It's reminding me. Check this out. So everybody starts talking about. They start talking about, you can't work if you're a YouTuber. No, listen, folks, earn income, right? You're going too far if you're starting your video by saying, yes, you can work with an SSRV visa, right? Everybody knows this. You don't need to go out there and make a video telling everybody that you can work and earn money with an SRRV visa. I mean, that's kind of weird. That's like putting the cart before the horse, right? The first question you have to ask, because that isn't what people were talking about. What they've been talking about is, can you do YouTube on a tourist visa? That's the question. right? That needs to be answered. Can you do YouTube on a tourist visa if you're a foreigner and your home base is in the Philippines? I agree with Steve. He did a video recently on this. I agree with him in that you have to ask the question the right way. But the first question you need to ask is YouTube considered work? That's the first question. And then you have to develop a series of tests. Now, I've since learned that in Thailand, oh, wait. Tobias is saying, I know a dude here on 800 a month and he's doing it. Yeah, yeah, of course. Of course you're going to do it, right? You probably don't notice that he's low budget. I make it known that I'm low budget, Dan, by the things that I do. People go, that's a little weird. That kind of over there is acting a little bit funny. Yes, most likely he's probably a walking ATM machine. And it's so hard to get a peso, even 1 peso, out of his pocket. Oh, we're going to talk about that peso thing going around on Facebook in a minute. We're going to talk about that. And then I'm going to tell you the rest of the story about the American who scams the Filipina. All right, I'll tell you the rest of the story later. But okay, so the first question you have to ask is doing YouTube when your home base is the Philippines work? That's question number one. Who do you think is going to be answering that question for you? The answer is nobody can. And the reason is because nobody has developed any rules about this. It's too new. It's a brand new phenomena that no one was anticipating they would have to have a rule for or a law for. So guess what's happening in Thailand? They have realized that they have to define this. Right. They already know. If you're a digital nomad and you're moving from country to country to country, and your home base is not Thailand, meaning that you're not going and getting renewed visas, you're not considered to be working. You see, it's easy. But if you are on a tourist visa and you keep renewing it to a 2 month, a 3 month, a 6 month, 3 years later, you're leaving the country for 24 hours and you're coming back and you are a YouTube superstar, guess what? You better be waiting for the Bureau of Revenue to pay you a visit because they're going to want their share. Now it's separate. Listen, people try to time together that this is strictly a Bureau of Revenue issue. It is not. It is not. You have to deal with the immigration office. They're the ones that are going to be the final authority because they're the ones that could boot you out of the country. It's not the Bureau of Revenue that boots you out of the country. They could say anything they want. They could say, yes, we're backing you 100%. Oh, thank you so much. The Bureau of Revenue is backing me. They'll back you all the way up to the gate 3 at Terminal 2. they'll back you all the way up. Yeah, they'll probably even provide you with an escort as you are leaving the country with your tail between your legs. Thank you. 15 million people in the house. James Robinson is here. Anna May, what do you say? What you gonna be doing today? Tim, prices have gone up significantly in the last 4 years. Yes, they have. And it's something to be alarmed about. And I'm alarmed. So there. And plus, all these guys, listen, if you're starting a business in the Philippines, if you're an expat, there's something wrong with your head. There is something wrong with your head. There's no way. If you have an SRRV visa, there is no way. There's no way. I'm retired. That's why I got an SRRV visa. I'm retired. I'm retired and inspired. I'm not looking to work. I'm not looking to invest money. I'm not looking to do nothing except enjoy my final 10 or 12 or 15 years. That's all I'm trying to do. And so that means that I have to be aware of price increases in food, price increases in housing, anything that threatens my existence in the Philippines. Because after all, the Philippines is not the cheapest country to live in, but it is the most visa friendly country I found out to live in. Very difficult to do the whole visa thing in Thailand. It's very difficult. You have to report in every so often. You have to do this, you have to do that. I'd rather be in Thailand, quite frankly, but I'm not married to a Thai woman. I think my Filipino wife would rather be in Thailand. I don't know if she'll actually admit that on camera, but she told me that she loves it there. Most Filipinos, when they go there, they never want to come home. So yes, prices have gone up significantly, and if you're going to say something different, you are a fool. Rilchi, La Chica is here. Is it Richie or Rilchi? Richie, phonetically pronounce that, spell that out for me in the chat. Let's see. Lazy Larry, thank you so much for catching up on my videos. And he says you're welcome. Annie MC is here. Good morning, Dan. Chrissy Mama is here. Crystals is hanging in there with Dan this morning, enjoying, I guess, whatever it is I have to say. Don't plan on working here. Supposed to have some sort of income to live on before you come here. That's right. That's right. Don't come here thinking that you're going to work teaching English on the online or something stupid like that. You have to have a guaranteed income stream. Let's talk about this SRRV visa for a second. All right. I have heard this, and so do not don't share. I was listening to a guy in a live chat who said this is possible. Do not do that. I'm telling you what I heard through unofficial channels, right? So I heard this, Dan. I'm going to tell you a secret. This is how it came to me, right, Dan? You're doing things. You're doing things okay, but you missed something, and it amuses me. This is a friend of mine talking to me about that. What did I miss? What did I miss? You missed that there's another way for you to get your SRRV visa. Another way? What are you talking about? Minnie becomes a citizen. She regains her citizenship. I'm married to her. Then I go down to JR in Cebu, and I let them handle all the paperwork for SRRV, right? Or the spousal visa. No, he says no. You see, you miss this. I go, Simply AC is here. Welcome. It's your wife that applies for the SRRV, huh? All of a sudden, I'm like, huh? Your wife is the one that applies for the SRRV. I said, how does that go? She puts up the $1,500 deposit in the bank. She adds you as a dependent. That's how you do this. Not you going there and then she's in the clear. She doesn't need any visa because she reclaimed her citizenship. I go, because you'll have to put $10,000 deposit in a bank account. And so if you don't want to do that, you have her apply for the SRRV, and then you become a dependent on hers. And then all you have to do is put $1,500 in the bank account and then pay the application fees. You're done. And I was like, holy crap. That actually makes sense to me. And so now I have something new that I have to check out, and I'll be reporting back on you. But I do believe that it's true that I can be a dependent on my wife's SRRV. I believe it's true. When I started looking at it, when I started researching it, the current stuff that's available online to see, I discovered that it can be done that way. So that is a cool workaround if it's true. That's a pretty cool workaround, but it doesn't matter. Even if it's true, I'm going to go to the experts at JR to handle all the paperwork. I wouldn't do it myself. Cha Ram is here. Good morning. Good morning, Cha Ram. Sek Bucci, thanks for hanging in there. Alfie's here. Alfie. It took me a moment to realize who Alfie was, even though I've known forever. Um, I just keep forgetting because there's so many people to keep track of, right? Princess Sarah's still hanging in. Crystal's adventure in Pangasinan, and Mark, her other half. Yeah, her significant other. The exchange rate was 54.5 pesos per dollar yesterday. Yeah, and it was 54.35. If you look at the chart, it's crashing right now, it's just falling like a rock. 22 million people in the house. Thank you so much. The word is out. The word is out that Dan may be drawing a winner today. Yeah, I don't. In God, how's they say it, Mike? In God we trust. All others pay cash. That's where I'm at. Yeah, it's never failed me. It's never failed me. That's because it's right on the back of a dollar bill, right? Yeah, that's right. It says right on there, "In God we trust." Oh, Edward decided that he doesn't want to participate. He got his feelings hurt, I guess, because I said I wanted to go solo. He got his feelings hurt. A lot of people, they make it all about them. They say, "Oh, it's because of me, because of me." I don't know where that comes from. I love Edward. He's great, but he sent me some messages, and I was like, what can I say? What can I say? Tim has the SRRV. Probably because you probably went under former military, right, Tim? And so it's a beautiful thing. If you're former military, it's the $1,500. You prove the pension of at least $800 a month. You're good to go, right? It works something like that. Guys, don't listen to me on all this SRV, all this stuff, because I don't know. Dan, wouldn't be great if Philippines accept the U.S. dollar as legal currency. It is though. The U.S. dollar is legal currency. Because they're like married to each other. You can depend on those rates being married to each other, how they fluctuate together, and it's easy to figure it all out. And that's why I convert my U.S. dollars to pesos as soon as I get the money. You don't have to do what I do. That would be silly, right? Don't do what Dan tells you to do. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what Dan does. I don't keep my money around in US dollars. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. you know, yeah, you have to have, listen, it's nice to have millions of pesos hanging around under the mattress. Yeah. Yeah. If one day they devalue the peso, if one day they come in there and they say, "Oh, we're devaluing the peso," well, it sucks to be me. But one day they say we're devaluing the dollar, which actually has happened. It's happening on a daily basis. Well, it sucks to be me. In other words, I'm like this. I'm like, some of this, some of that, some of this, some of that. It doesn't. You know, how does it impact my life? How does it impact my life? Timothy, Dan, that will only work if Philippine spouse was prior military. No, it's former Filipina, former Philippine citizen is the rule, according to the SRRV folks, the SR, however it is, the retirement visa folks, online. So let's see. James, would cost more because the economy is not set up to give correct change with exchange rate. That is an excellent point right there, Mike. That is the best point, as a matter of fact. You're absolutely correct. I wasn't thinking about that, but it is true. Dan, you could apply for, I know, but it's better. It's more expensive. I think that I worked it out so that it's cheaper in the long run, even if I had to pony up the 10,000 and maintain it in a Philippine bank, an approved bank. it's cheaper to do it that way than it is to go with a spousal visa. So it's just an all around better deal. Uh, for the moment, Jalen, Abby, Melanie Calapine is here. Oh, Melanie. All right, let's move on because I'm not trying to sell anybody on anything. So let's move on because Mel is here. Let's talk about Mel. All right. So, Mel, I want to talk about this 1 peso thing on Facebook that's going around, right? Stroke of genius, in my opinion. Stroke of genius. So, you guys are going to notice on your Facebook page, it's going to say, please send me 1 peso in Gcash. Now, you know what it reminds me of? And then I'm reading people telling their success stories. There are other people starting to post now talking about how 1 million people sent them 1 peso. No, I don't know if 1 million people did, but a hell of people did. Because people are sitting around and they're going, yeah, I got 1 peso, I got send them in Gcash. Why not? And they've sent it off, right? But check this out. I sent a couple of people 1 peso. I did it. I did it. Said this is pretty cool. Let's see what happens. Guess what happens? I sent 5 people 1 peso or a little bit more, right? Not much more. I think the most I sent out was 10. And check out what happened. They told their friends, right? They told their friends. And their friends hit me up for 1 peso. And so if I were to show you my messenger, right? They go into Facebook, they add me. They request to add me. But even if they didn't, I started getting messages, right? That said, will you please send me 1 pesos? And so I smiled. There was a big smile on my face that said, I ain't doing this. I ain't doing this. I don't have the time to do this. So after I sent out those initial 5 and I saw that exponentially people were sending me their friends, right? I said, oh no. Oh no. See, you're most likely either a giver or you're a taker, right? Right? And so by the way, Melanie's picture of the water spout went viral. It went viral. I was going to use that as a short video and then I started feeling guilty about it. It's already gotten tremendous amounts of hits in different venues. And so Mel, they shared your video and your picture all over the world. I hear that news organizations picked it up. I hear that the Associated Press is publishing your picture in the United States. You know what, Mel? You should have put on there your name down at the bottom. Credit to Melanie Calapayan, because you would have been world famous. Those pictures that you took and the video you took, they were worth gold. They were worth gold. You would have gold in your pocket. And so I'm not so sure. I'm being overly dramatic. The whole thing is that they were just beautiful. And they made their way around the world a couple of times. Congratulations to you. Congratulations. So now about this 1 peso thing. Don't send me requests to my messenger, saying that you would like for me to send 1 peso to your Gcash. I'm saving it for this drawing. All right, I'm saving it for this drawing. Don't do it because I'm not going to send you. I'm not going to send you money. I didn't know it was going to turn out that way. I did not know, but I thought. Bottom line is, it was a stroke of genius because I remember this TV repairman came to me one day, right? He came to my mom one day this is in the days where you used to have TV repairmen come into your house to repair your TV, and they were using vacuum tubes and all these wires, and you had to really know what you're doing in order to fix the TV set. Usually it would be a blown out vacuum tube. He would troubleshoot it, figure out which one it was, replace the vacuum tube, and then charge it for the home visit, and the tube, he'd be on his way. So one day I'm talking to him. I'm just a kid, 13, 14 years old. I don't remember how old I was, but comes to the house. He says, wow. He goes, I'm going to be changing the way that I do business. I go, how so, sir? How so, sir? He says, well, I don't mind sharing it with you, but I'm going to ask all my customers because I got a huge customer base to give me $100. I'm going to give them lifetime worth of service, right? And so he goes in. So he's trying to. So I told him, well, what's the bottom line? Bottom line here for me, sir. What are you trying to do? Well, I don't have retirement. I don't want to work the rest of my life doing this. So I figured out that if 20% of my customers gave me $100 up front, I would become extremely wealthy overnight. I wouldn't have to worry about my retirement. And then I will knock down my customer list to only those people that gave me the $100, and I would service them. But in order to get this to work, I have to have 20% of my customers give me $100. I sat there and I was amazed. I go, that is the most brilliant idea that I have ever heard. Unfortunately, a couple of days after I saw him, a few days after my mom told him no on the $100, he passed away. Yeah, yeah, you weren't expecting that, were you? He passed away. So lifetime service on your television set would have lasted a very, very short period of time, and you would have been out the $100. But it was a brilliant idea from his on his end, right? Because he didn't think it was enough money that people would say no, but it turned out to be. And he certainly wasn't expecting to die the next day. It wasn't the very next day. That's for dramatic effect. It was a few weeks later, we find out after my mom calls him up to say, hey, are you still repairing TV sets? And the wife says, oh, he's passed away. So, did the idea work out or not? I don't know. The guy isn't around. How many people actually gave him the $100? Oh man! But I thought it was a brilliant idea. Ah, yeah, you do like the panel, yes. Yeah, you like it, and I hate it. So that's why we go to Larry Lee's channel, and Larry Lee will be on shortly, right? He'll be on, and so don't miss a panel discussion with Larry Lee. So, good day, Sir Larry. How are you? Tobias is saying the song from Sheryl Crow. All I want to do is have some fun when the sun goes down on the Santa Monica Boulevard. And as you know, we were there on the Santa Monica Pier not that long ago, less than 2 years ago. And I'll tell you what, there's no better place to be on a Sunday afternoon than on the Santa Monica Pier. So, watching the world go by, watching people, watching people argue and have fun and picnics and fish on the end of the pier. I don't know if they still allow that or not, but there's no better time to be had. But we have piers here in Bye Bye City. They just won't let you on them. But they're working on that. They're working on that. They're building a public pier. And so in the olden days, they had a public pier here, and it was great. We used to go in there and eat barbecue. It was fantastic. We'd be sticking right there out the ocean, right at the end of the pier, eating barbecue, drinking beer. You can't ask for a better life than that. I'm telling you. It's hard to imagine a better life than that. Michelle is here. Abby's here. That was excellent news. I find a wife and have her do the SRV. How old is her retirement age? It's age 50. Age 50, and you can do it. Age 50. Mike says, Dan, can you send me 20 pesos? The next person that holds their hand out on that I run across on the street, Mike, and the 20 pesos is theirs. How about that? No, it's not 60. Oh, 60. Yeah, 60 to receive your Social Security in the Philippines. To get the retirement visa, it's age 50. Remember that whole thing with the Chinese? It was age 35. You know, I hey, maybe it still is age 35. Maybe the Chinese just can't take advantage of it now. I don't know what they're doing with that. But anyway, Tim will tell us. It's more expensive than that, and also more complicated. That's why you have to have somebody do it for you, I'm thinking. LV, LV, LV. Good morning. Hey, James. How's it going? How's life in the big city? Virtual hug. Thank you. Des, good morning. Des, how's everything? How's everything going? All right, let's get down to what were we talking about next? Okay, I talked about the peso. I talked about the on Facebook. I talked about the rest of the stuff. Gave you my opinion about that, which is worth nothing. And then now what? What's next? What's that? Oh, the girl. You want to know how the story turns out? You want to know about the American who smashes here? The American who scams the Filipina. Yeah, and so you think this won't happen to you. But I've seen this thing happen, and Des even validated it in one of the comments. She said she has seen this happen before. Of course it's going to happen before. The guys in America, they're desperate. You know, some of them have not even worked 10 years, a combined 10 years of their entire lives, and they're approaching age 60 or older. And so as they age, the opportunity to earn those other qualifying quarters to get a steady stream of Social Security starts to disappear. And so what they start doing is they start looking around saying, hey, if I import a 22-year-old Filipina who's got some working life left, then I could put her to work to supplement what income I do have. This is happening all over the place. Folks, the internet has opened this door to what's going on, to this issue, this new problem. And it's not only happening here, but it's happening not only in Western countries. Listen, don't get me started. Don't get me started. Once I get going on this, I will not be able to shut the hell up. I'm telling you, I can't close my mouth now. Then you want me to talk about the people escaping Eastern Europe, ending up in Manila now? First in Thailand, then in Indonesia, and then now they're starting to kick them out, saying, no, we don't want you here. You're messing up our economy. We don't want you coming in here and driving the price of goods and services through the roof. But that's what's happening. And so the Eastern Europeans, they've been kicked out of Indonesia. Now they're being kicked out of Thailand. They're getting a clear message sent that you can't come in here and play your silly rabbit games. Why don't you get back home and fight the war instead of trying to escape like a little bitch? Why don't you get back home, help your countrymen win a goddamn war instead of running to the Philippines and messing up the place for everybody else? No, I'm not bitter about this. No, this does not bother me. No. But of course, they're the people that have money. They're no different than me. They're no different than me coming from the West and doing exactly the same thing. So why would I tell somebody not to do it? Well, it's because you have a war to fight. Don't you love your country? A couple won $1.6 billion. The choice was 500 million cash or so much for 30 years. But if you took the second choice, not so much if you died the next day. Yeah, that's right. That's why you take the money. You take the money and run, right? Right, Mike? take the money and run. So Tim did, but it's all over the place. Listen, if you go to immigration, if you go to the Bureau of Revenue Recovery, if you go to any of these places, you ask 10 different people and you get 10 different answers, all depending on how you ask the question. So you have to be very, very consistent in the way you ask the question. It is very complex. You need people to help you do it. You need experts to help you do it. You were waiting for the LV chant. Tim, I just subbed to your channel. No trolls here tonight. It's a dude that said he's Mark Thornton. Oh, you mean Mark Thornton. You mean the one that married the child bride. Oh, that went over like a lead balloon, didn't it? All right. Listen, I'm having too much fun here. The Russian Federation not wanting to fight against Ukraine. Yeah, you and I, we wouldn't want to do it either. Because my brother, he's over there on the other side. He's on the other side. There's no way I would do it. Yeah. But anyway, uh, you know, what can I say, Mike? Stay home and take it like a man. All right. So let's talk about it. So the internet's open and so here you are, right? Here you are working your ass off in the hospital or at the mall doing retail, very low wages. And then all of a sudden, you're on Christian Philippine or some dating site, any one of the dating sites, you meet Mr. Man, right? Mr. Man's interested in you, and so he starts talking. Things start going along, and boom. I'll give it to Des oh, JJ is sick. Oh, that's terrible. Okay. Okay, do you win tonight? It goes to Des. Okay. All right, so now, Des, we'll chat later, see what's going on. Or send me an instant message or something and let me know what's going on. All right, so you think, okay, man, I got it going on. I got this handsome guy using Mark Harmon's picture. No, he's not using Mark Harmon's picture. He's using Bruce Willis' picture. And he convinces you that, yeah, you're good for each other. He shows up in the Philippines, wines and dines your family. Your mom has stars in her eyes saying, you better get with this dude. So you do. You end up in the United States, and life just not turn out the way that you expect. He turns out to be a chronic alcoholic who never gives up his search for the idea of Filipina, even though that you're in the next room. He's over there in the internet, still on the dating sites, trying to scam some other Filipina. But you're the big winner, right? You're the one on the fiance visa. And so, because of Filipina culture, you know, uh, because you're Filipina culture, you have more patience than the average bear. You definitely have more patience than somebody from America, a woman from America. And so, what you're doing is you're playing the long game. You're going in there. You're saying, you know what? Even though it's not turning out the way that I expected, I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there, hope against hope that he's going to turn around, that he's going to stop being a drunkard, he's going to stop stop getting fired from his job, that with my influence and my caring and my loving him, he will come around. But guess what happens? You get married, but you do something very, very smart. You don't have children with this dude because you realize that, hey, if I'm having a kid with this dude, it's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad, right? I can't bring a kid into this world with a father like that. So, but you do end up getting married. You follow through and you marry the guy. He puts you to work working the 12-hour shifts at the hospital and even encourages you, convinces you to work extra shifts so that he can pay the bills, convince you that they're broke, right? This is what the video is all about. This truly happened to a friend of mine. 5 years later, especially after being influenced by your coworkers that you shared your story to at the hospital, they finally convince you this ain't going nowhere. It's never going to work. You file for divorce. You file for divorce. You're a young, up and coming. You have a successful career. You have guys asking you out all day, all night long. You even have a few women that are interested in you. You decide, nope, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm filing for divorce. Guess what happens? You move out, you file for divorce, and on Judgment Day, the judge comes to you and says, this is a very unusual case, but unfortunately, ma'am, you're going to have to pay alimony to Mr. Man. You can either negotiate it yourself, or I can negotiate it for you. What is it going to be? So she's stunned. She's stunned because she now has learned, because she's making over 5,000 pesos per hour, that she's going to have to pay you some money because you're not working, and she gets way more money than you do. She makes way more money, and her potential into the future is way better than any money that you can earn. She's making in a day what it usually would have taken you a week to earn. And so the judges decided in their infinite wisdom that you're going to have to pay him. So you look over at him and you're going, son of a bitch, how are we going to do this, right? And the judge excuses you. You guys, you attorneys, and you two, you go over there into the little room off the side there in the court, and you could see if you could work it out. I'm going to give you 30 minutes to come back to me, with a number, or by the time you leave this courtroom, you will have a number. So he's either going to figure it out or you're going to figure it out. So they decide, oh, we have to go. They go into the little room and they start bantering back and forth. How much money, right? They come to an agreement. That she will pay him alimony better than $1,500 per month. That sunsets in 5 years. So she's on the hook for 5 years, right? 5 years. She will not be able to get rid of this guy because there'll be a financial connection between the two of them for the next 5 years. They go back to court with an agreement, and the judge says, a little bit less than I would have given, but so ordered, right? And there was a gasp in the courtroom. All the others waiting for divorce couldn't believe it. She has to pay him $1,500 every single month for the next 5 years, right? And it didn't matter if he recovered and got a job. It didn't matter if. She was on the hook for it, period. The only way that she could get out of it was that he would have to get married to somebody else. And once they signed a marriage contract, once they got married, then it was over for her. She no longer was responsible. He was given the what-fors in court. He was given the perimeters in court. So he leaves a courtroom. Everybody's the audience is kind of looking at him like spitting at him and cursing them and saying, "You rat bastard, get off your dead ass and go get a job." So the punishment lasts 5 or 10 years. So it was to be a happy ending to the story. Happy marriage, happy life, children, and all these other things, right? Children living life happily ever after, both working to contribute to the household. Turns out to be close to close to a disaster, but it really doesn't turn out that way. It really doesn't turn out that way because she ends up meeting Mr. Doctor in the hospital. Yes, she's working the night shift. It gets lonely sometimes on the night shift. And she ends up with an attending physician, an intern at the time, actually, was doing his internship there. ER, you know how they put you in the ER. She ends up falling in love. They end up falling in love with each other, and living happily ever after. So the ending of the story is it does have a happy ending. Unfortunately, it had a very, very rough beginning. Folks, I did this video as a warning. This is happening so much. It's happening so much. It's becoming pervasive. But I notice on YouTube, very, very few people talk about it. Few people talk about um, this happening to them because they've never heard of it. They've never heard of it. But if you go into private chat rooms, expat chat rooms, everybody's talking about it. And the first thing they say is, dude, you have to go find a young Filipina with an RN. And a lot of people don't know. If you're an RN, you know, they give that California or the New York nursing exam right here in the Philippines. That's the one that you take. That's the one that qualifies you as an RN, but it also qualifies you to work anywhere in the world with that passing that RN exam. And so California recruits here. California and New York State both recruit here. And so this is set up decades ago. This system was set up decades ago, and there's a shortage of nurses. You don't need to marry an American in order to get a work visa to the United States if you have that RN. If you're an RN, you'll get the work visa without having to marry an American, a Westerner. He says that's funny. People say I look like Bruce Willis. That is funny. That is very funny. And Larry, you do look a little bit like Ned Beatty, you know, but the voice is more Burl Ives like, you know. Damn it. Can I come up? My birthday celebration this weekend. Oh, I'm not doing a retro. I'm not doing a panel today. I'm not doing a panel ever again, I don't think. Because I'm a bad moderator. You know, I can't control the flow of information, and people become upset when I silence them on the mic or I kick them out of the panel. They take it very personally. Oh, Tim is saying I look like a want to be YouTube superstar by the name of Tim Dziak. Well, you're a superstar in my mind's eye anyway. Yeah. So happy birthday though, Retro. Happy birthday to you. Would you like me to sing? No, I don't think you want that. So anyway, so that's the story. That's the whole story. And so it all worked out, but it took 10 years of pain and suffering. But you'll find that this happens a lot um, with these types of relationships. Oh, by the way, so I did say I would share some valuable stats, but I think that the least that no one in here wants to listen to me spew statistics on divorce rates. But I did find something out, something interesting that I would like to share with you. The most successful marriages in the United States are between an American and a Filipina. Believe that or not. So what I was able to discover is that, as everybody knows, we have a better than half of marriages in the United States end in divorce in the first 5 years. 47% of all marriages end in divorce in the United States within the first 5 years. But guess what I discovered? 80% of American Filipino relationships are successful. which means that only 20% end in divorce. And what we're talking about here is we're talking about Americans that bring their wives back to the Philippines so they could take an opportunity of to work there in the Philippines and make some money. 80% of those marriages are successful. And I have to say that I believe that it's because of the Philippine culture. Mike says it took 26 years for divorce. Oh, to divorce the first wife. So you had I would say that that's a successful marriage right there, Mike. 26 years is a long time. Um, so for 26 years, maybe you knew you had a problem, maybe not. I'm not sure. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that is pretty cool. So that means that 20% of these guys may in fact be scoundrels. So that would mean that every two guys out of 10 that you run across on the internet when you're doing your online dating might be one of the ones that I'm talking about. Might be trying to scam you. So what do you have to do in order to avoid it? Well, you have to vet it out. Don't jump into relationships, even though they're LDRs, too quickly, and make sure you've done your homework on this dude. I mean, no, I mean, if I could, I'd want to see his paycheck stub. How long have you worked where you've worked? Listen, be proud. Be a proud Filipino. Most of you are. Don't be shy. You ask him straight up. Listen, part of this deal is that I have to know that you're capable of taking care of me. We're not talking about taking care of me and my family. We're just talking about taking care of me. Mike says, it took me 6.5 years to get my divorce. So you were close. And Mike says, I would have gotten out of prison for murder in 25 years. Still might have been worth it, right, Mike? Well, anyway, it's a divorce of a different name, that's all. So you have to vet them out. Don't be shy. Don't let the handsome man convince you that everything is going to be okay. You need to vet this out carefully. You need to know everything about him because he's finding out everything about you, you know. And so all is fair in love and war, as they say. You're not going to go with some guy that you know nothing about. You can't go jumping into this relationship, uh, with eyes closed. Everything has to be your eyes have to be open and everything about your life. After all, you're putting your entire life on the table for all to see when you do this. Because I remember, Minnie and I, before we got married, when we were courting, I think it was 2 or 3 years. That this it lasted 2 or 3 years, the courting process, and I knew all about her and her family. I knew what I was getting myself into, all her friends. But she rarely asked questions about me. She rarely knew things about where I lived, how much money I made, and all these sorts of things, what my level of education was. These, you know, so the thing is, you have to do your due diligence because things have changed since then. Guys have figured out they can come to the Philippines and they can get with, a provincial girl, if you will, provincial lady, very, very easily, because they're seeking their way out of poverty. They're seeking their way to a better life. Not always does it happen this way. And you just have to be aware. If you're one of these provincial women that are out there, please do not take the first guy that comes your way making all these promises. Time has to pass. You have to meet him in person several times. You have to get to know this dude, get to know his character, keep your eyes open. What does he complain about when you're together? What does he talk about when you're online? That's what you have to familiarize yourself with. Really know this person. But I got to tell you, Everything has worked out fine for Ma'am Minnie and I. We have longevity, but the whole thing is that um, you know, taking her to the United States actually served as a disadvantage to her. You know, the process to become acculturated took longer than anticipated, and that can happen to you. You know, and so I have no regrets, but I would have done things a little bit differently. I would have hung around in the Philippines for 2 or 3 years. I would have understood, tried to understand what was going on there before, uh, before saying, "Hey, come with me." You know, come with me to the land of opportunity, the land of low wage jobs. So I'm taking you out of the land of low wage jobs, and you are coming into the land of low wage employment. So, good morning, Girly Senna. Thank you for being here today. I married Masawa after we met in person 14 days. And so sometimes things work out. They work out just fine. Beth Beltran is here. Beltran is here. Hi, Beth. Lexi is here. It's Lexi Vlog. And this is the 7th year of marriage. And so we're approaching 19 years in September, I believe. It could be 20. Oh, I know. I'm getting in trouble. I'm getting myself in trouble. It's 19 or 20. What can I say? All right. We've been on the air for 1 hour and 27 minutes. And now it's time. It's Dunkin' Donuts time. But before we go, let's have a drawing. Let me see if Ma'am Minnie is in the house. Ma'am Minnie, are you here? Ma'am Minnie, are you here? Like I said, the handyman is here doing some work around the house. And so let me shake this up. Let me get this ready. Let me get this ready for her. Shake it, baby, shake it. Shake it, baby, shake it. Zammy Zam is here. Shake it, baby, shake it. Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. Ma'am Minnie. Did you hear? I got the fan going. I got the dogs barking. I got the roosters singing. I got all this stuff. Hi, Zammy. Des is here. Aileen Cruise official. Yeah, it is kind of. It is a basement.
Did you call me?
Yeah, come on over, honey. I was just talking about this beautiful marriage that we have. We're coming up on.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, what are we coming up on? How many years? How many years are we? 19? She doesn't remember either. All right.
Like 18, 19?
19 years coming up.
What is
Coming up
there?
when? September, October, November?
September 26.
All right, September 26th, 19-year anniversary. All right, so now, thanks everybody. 23 million people in the house. Shake it, baby, shake it. All right, you ready to pull one out?
Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
All right, you're ready. All right.
This is for you guys.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay. 200 peso winner is 200
Chicken
pesos
dinner.
today. Winner. Oh, the camera's over here. I keep forgetting. The winner. Number 51. Who's number 51? Wait. I forgot to pull up my list. Who is number 51? We have to go back and
You should
pull up.
include my name. If I win, I can give
No.
Why not?
Number 51. Number 51. Number 51. Going once. Let's see. I got to pull up. The list is still on my. Someone tell me who's number 51. Someone tell me number 51.
Anami? Yes.
Number 51 is. Okay, number 51 is Lainey Managbanag. Lainey Managbanag. Going once. You recognize her?
Yeah, Managbanag from Pangasugan.
Really?
Yeah.
Ask
her.
Lani or Lainey. Number 2.
It's Lani.
Lani. It's Lani?
Lani Managbanag.
Number 3. Oh, Des knows Lonnie.
Oh, hi,
Lonnie,
Days.
number 4. Last call out for Lonnie. How do you say her last name?
Lani Manag Banag.
Lonnie,
Manag Banag.
number 5. Okay. No luck. We're gonna have to pull another number. Lonnie's not here. Beth is here though, and Des is here.
Hi,
She says hi.
Kristen. Hi, Beth.
24 million
Hi,
people in the
Anami.
house. Broadcast time, 1 hour, 31 minutes. All right. We're going to pull another number.
Lani Manag. Oh,
Yeah, that's Anna May. I think people know her.
okay.
Pull another number.
Second.
All right. The next number is coming up. Man Mini has pulled it. And the winner is number, what is that? 48. Number 48 is, go to the list, Crystal's Adventure. What?
Yay! Hi,
What?
Kristen.
No
Hi,
way.
sugar.
No way. Impossible. Crystal's Adventure going once.
Is there, right?
Crystal's Adventure going twice. You have to say present. Crystal's Adventure. Oh, there she is. Okay, so I know there's a delay. Crystal, she probably said present almost immediately. I can't believe it. I'm in shock.
Kristen, I miss
Yeah,
you.
I'm absolutely in shock. Jason is here. Jason, how's it
Hi,
going?
Jason.
Looks like Crystal's Adventure
Hi,
is our
baby.
200 peso winner today. All right, congratulations, everybody. It's time for the Duncan. It's time to head over to the Duncan. Congratulations to all your children. They graduated from elementary school, from middle school, from high school, from college, from university, from trade school, from hair dressing school, from nail school, for whatever school you graduate from. I want to wish you congratulations, and it's time to
Hi,
party.
Sir Larry.
And Larry's leading us out of here. Remember to be kind to each other. Take care of yourself. Plus, stay healthy, stay safe and healthy. Plus, always try to have fun. You think that I would have memorized those lines by now? Everybody, you take care, and thanks for coming to this live. I truly
Bye,
appreciate
guys.
it.
Take care.
See you next time. Bye bye.